Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. These are part of the scary fairy tales. They are classic stories with a creepy twist. Horrible hags and wicked warlocks. This is called The Witch, and it's a Russian fairy tale based on the Baba Yaga folk story. And you'll find that story in Andrew Lang's Yellow Fairy Book. Once upon a time, there was a peasant whose wife died, leaving him with twins, a boy and a girl. For some years, the poor man cared for the children the best he could, but at last he married again. However, the twins' new stepmother was very cruel to them and beat them and half-starved them. All day she thought of nothing but how she could get rid of them. At last an evil idea came to her. One morning she said to them, "I'm going to send you to visit my granny, who lives in a dear little hut in the wood. You will have to work hard for her, but she will take good care of you." So the children left the house with only a bottle of milk, a piece of ham, and a hunk of bread. The little sister, who was very wise for her years, said to the brother, "Our stepmother is not sending us to Granny, but to a wicked witch. We must be polite and kind to everyone, and never touch a crumb belonging to anyone else. Then, who knows, someone might help us." And they struck out into the great gloomy wood. Eventually, the children saw in the thickest of the trees a little hut. Nervously, they peeped inside. There lay the witch, with her head on the threshold, a foot in each corner, and her knees cocked up, almost touching the ceiling. "Who's there?" she snarled. Though the twins were terrified, they answered politely, "Good morning, Granny. Our stepmother has sent us to serve you." "See that you do it well, then," growled the witch. "If I am pleased with you, I'll reward you, but if I am not, I'll cook you in the oven." So saying, she set the girl down to spin yarn. She gave the boy a sieve in which to carry water from the well, and she herself went out into the wood. The girl began weeping bitterly because she could not spin, but suddenly she heard hundreds of little feet, and from every hole in the hut mice came, pattering, squeaking and saying, "Little girl, why are you and your eyes, why are they so red? If you want help, give them some bread." And the girl gave them some of the bread. Then the mice told her that the witch had a cat, and the cat was very fond of ham. If she would give the cat her ham, it would show her the way out of the wood, and in the meantime they would spin the yarn for her. So the girl set out to look for the cat, and she was hunting about. She met her brother. He was in great trouble because he could not carry water from the well in a sieve, as it came pouring out as fast as he put it in. As she was trying to comfort him, they heard a rustling of wings and a flight of wrens. They came and alighted on the ground beside them. The wrens said, "Give me some crumbs, give us some crumbs. Then you need not grieve, for you'll find that water will stay in the sieve." Then the twins crumbled some of their bread on the ground, and the wrens pecked and chirped. When they had eaten the last crumb, they told the boy to fill up the holes of the sieve with clay, and then to draw water from the well. So he did what they said, and carried the sieve full of water into the hut without spilling a single drop. When they entered the hut, the cat was curled up on the floor. They stroked her, fed her with ham, and said to her pussy. Tell us how to get away from the witch." The cat thanked them for the ham and gave them a pocket handkerchief and a comb. She told the children that they should do what they should do with them to escape. The cat had scarcely finished speaking when the witch returned. "Well, you have done well enough for today," she grumbled, "but tomorrow you'll have something more difficult to do, and if you don't do it well, straight into the oven you'll go." Half dead with fright, the poor children lay down to sleep on a heap of straw in the corner of the hut. They dared not close their eyes, and they were very, very scared that they did not dare to breathe. In the morning, the witch gave the girl 2 pieces of linen to weave before night, and the boy a pile of wood to chop. Then the witch left them to their tasks and went out into the wood. As soon as she was out of sight, the children took the comb and the handkerchief, and holding hands, they ran and ran and ran. First, they met the witch's watchdog, who was going to tear them to pieces, but they threw the remains of their bread to him, and he ate it, wagged his tail. Then they were hindered by the birch trees, whose branches almost put their eyes out. But the little sister tied the twigs together with her hair ribbon, and they got past safely, and then they came out on top of fields. In the meantime, in the hut, the cat was busy weaving the linen. The witch returned to see how the children were getting on, and she crept up to the window and whispered, "Are you weaving, my dear?" "Yes, Granny, I am weaving," answered the cat. Then the witch realised that the children had escaped. She was furious, and she hit the cat, screeching, Why did you let the children leave the hut?" But the cat spat and answered, "I have served you all these years, and you've never thrown me a bone, but the children gave me their own piece of ham." Then the witch was furious with the watchdog and with the birch trees because they let the children pass. But the dog answered, "I have served you all these years, and you never gave me so much as a crust, but the children gave me their own loaf of bread." And the birch rustled its leaves, and it said, "I have served you longer than I can say, and you have never tied a bow of twine around my branches, but the children, they bound me up with their own bright ribbons." So the witch saw there was no help to be gotten from there, and she was not best pleased. She decided to mount her broom and set off after the children herself. And the twins ran and ran, and they heard the sound of the broom, and it was getting close behind them. They remembered what the cat had told them: throw the handkerchief over their shoulders. So they did. Instantly, a deep, broad river flowed behind them. It took the witch a long time to find a place wide enough to cross over with her broomstick, but at last she got across and continued the chase faster than before. As the children ran, they heard the broom closer behind them again. So quick, they thought, they did what the cat had told them to do, and they threw the comb down on the ground. In an instant, a dense forest sprang up, in which the roots and branches were so closely mangled together that it was impossible for a witch to force her way through. When the witch came to it, she found that there was nothing for it. She absolutely had to turn around. She had to turn and go back to her own hut. She was tearing her hair with rage. The twins ran straight on until they reached home. They told their father all what they had suffered, and he was angry with the stepmother. He decided that she best be out of the house, and that she would never to return. Then he and the children lived happily ever after. I don't class that as a scary story at all, or a different twisted ending, but it's a good story. But it's definitely not scary or twisted. It's just different, that's all. And I know it's based on Baba Yaga, but the thing is as well, when you think about Hansel and Gretel, because that's what this story is going to remind you of, Hansel and Gretel, but that was what Hansel and Gretel was all about. You know, it was traditionally Baba Yaga in the woods, and nothing to do with Hansel and Gretel and all that stuff. That was added in later. So yeah, the original story is Baba Yaga in the woods, and it got changed to Hansel and Gretel, and then this is just the witch, which is very similar to the Baba Yaga. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and many thanks.